We heard Kirby Smart and several other members of the Georgia football program, whether they be players or coaches, talk about one thing over and over again over the course of what felt like a really long 7, 8 month offseason. And that was that they wanted to run the ball better and they wanted to stop the run, coming off of a year where historically they didn't do a good job of either of those things in the run game on either side of the ball. Well, they played Marshall, right? They were almost a 40-point favorite. It's a game they're supposed to dominate in, a game they're supposed to probably dominate in the trenches and in those categories. And they came out in week one and they did it. Is this going to be like there are overreactions to week one, right? There are probably going to be some overreactions taken from the Texas Ohio State game. There are probably going to be some overreactions taken from the Florida State Alabama game, the Clemson LSU game, whichever one it is. You can take them from any of the game. It'll take time for us to realize, hey, this was a symbol of what's going to happen throughout the season, or hey, look, this was week one, this is just a one-off, or that's just they just played poorly or really well that day. So there are overreactions. So I'm just going to evaluate Saturday for what it was, and what it was that Georgia did exactly what it said it wanted to do. Just run the ball, stop the run. They did it. Numbers-wise, Georgia ran 44 times for 239 yards, 3 touchdowns. It's a successful day on the ground, 5.4 yards per carry. For context, Georgia did not average 5.4 yards per carry. It's about 4 yards per carry last year, and they averaged about 125 yards per game. So this is over it. And you don't have to have over 100 yards more. You don't have to have 225 yards per game to be a successful run offense. But they did that in a game where they should. They accomplished that. Defensively, they held Marshall to under 100 rushing yards, to 78 rushing yards, 2.5 yards per carry. They do get that 1 or 2 yard rushing touchdown in the fourth quarter off of an explosive, on the back of an explosive play that got them inside the 3 yard line against Georgia's third, fourth string defense in the fourth quarter. So they do allow Marshall to get into the end zone. But overall, they met that goal for week one of running the ball and stopping the run. Is that going to be a theme? Why were they successful? Let's dive into all that and everything I saw, right? Because we saw a lot of different running backs get the ball. We saw a particular running back not get the ball. And we saw the quarterback be kind of the most successful runner for Georgia on the day. Ryan Curley from Dawg Post newsletter. Might be there right now, might not be. I have it all set up already, but it's down below in the description of this video. If not, use the QR code on the screen, screenshot, take a picture of it, whichever way you need to access that free Dawg Post newsletter. It's just the easiest way to keep up with what's going on with the Georgia Bulldogs, what's going on with Dawg Post in your inbox every day in your email. It's free, and there's no catch. So immediately you saw early on Georgia wants to run the ball. They have a nice screen pass to Zachary Branch on that opening drive, and then you see them run a pitch option play, right? There's different words, different terms to call it. Speed option is one, a speed out option, pitch option. Like there's different ways you call it, but it's where the quarterback and the running back are both running in one direction outside the tackle. The quarterback can either pitch it to the back or they can read the defender and keep it. We saw them run that play. We saw Gunnar Stockton juke a guy out on that. You saw a lot of read option because of Gunnar Stockton's legs. Read option, zone options, those are when Gunnar and the running back, right, he has the option to hand it off or to pull it and keep it for a quarterback run. They ran that a lot. Gunnar ended up with 10 carries for 73 yards and 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns in the red zone specifically. So there were certain areas on the field where they used Gunnar's legs. He used his legs on scrambles a couple of times, and that ended up being good. Kirby did make a statement that I thought was pretty interesting on those zone reads, those read option plays. There were a couple times where Gunnar had a successful run where he decided to keep it when really Marshall was set up to stop him there. He just made a play and beat the defender. So Gunnar was successful on the ground. 7.3 yards per carry and a couple of touchdowns is a pretty good day. Is Gunnar going to run the ball 10 times every game? I don't think so. I don't think so unless that's just what they need for their offense. We don't know how good this passing offense is going to be. I think we got a glimpse of what the running offense can be, right? But this is about the run game, so I'm not going to talk too much about the passing game. The second note in the run game was, okay, who are the guys, right? All offseason we are talking about Nate Frazier, and people, the Georgia fan base is pretty much assuming Nate Frazier is going to be this workhorse back, that he's going to be a Heisman contender, right? Those were things to me that were unrealistic. I think that Nate Frazier is a good running back. I think that putting him in the conversation of like the DeAndre Swift and James Cooks and Sonny Michel's and those guys of the world seemed unfair to me based off of what I watched last year. I saw a guy with explosive play potential, but didn't hit on them in certain situations where he could. He was kind of bottled up for the most part. 11 carries for 47 yards. Had a 12-yard run as his long, where a really good block off of true freshman Ethan Barbour. I'll get to that in a second as well. But Frazier, I just don't know if that's what he is. And Kirby's told us over the offseason, this is going to be a committee-style running back room. And I think that was proven on Saturday, if they follow this semblance at all over the course of the season, when Gunner gets 10 carries, Frazier gets 10 carries, Dwight Phillips Jr. gets 5 carries, 6 carries go to Chauncey Bowen. This is kind of what I think it's going to be for the most part, right? Where everyone's kind of getting a few here and there. And look, Dwight Phillips Jr. looked like the best running back they had on Saturday. Is that just a one-off, right? These are the things where I'm like, is this an overreaction to week one? Like, is Nate Frazier truly the lead back? Or, you watch the game and you see the speed with Dwight Phillips and the fact that he goes north. One of my concerns with Frazier is not the ones that people really harp on, which is, hey, does he have a fumbling problem? Hey, is his side to side not good enough? I think he dances around a lot. I know I'm not a running back. I'm not a running back coach, but he does a lot of this, right? And I don't know if it's indecisiveness or if he's trying to make something happen. You didn't get that from Dwight Phillips. You got him getting to the edge or getting through the hole and going north. They were set up nicely on his runs. They didn't run him up the middle the way they ran Nate Frazier up the middle. So there's a difference there. But whether it was the read option or just a straight up handoff to Dwight Phillips, he was fast, he went north, he scored. He was 5 for 60, right? 12 yards per carry. That's efficiency and explosiveness. He will play a role on this team. Will he get more carries in other games? I think so. Will there be some games where he only gets the ball a few times like this one? Probably. But Dwight Phillips Jr. seems like he's a weapon that's going to be utilized in this offense. I think the speed and just the ability to go north, he broke some tackles, right? I thought that what we saw out of Dwight Phillips Jr. was pretty promising for what a guy can do over the course of the year, even if it's just against Marshall. You saw Chauncey Bowens get in the game a little bit. He had a couple nice runs. You saw Bo Walker get in the game a little bit, only get the ball a few times in kind of garbage time. Same thing with Illinois transfer Josh McCray. We did not see Roderick Robinson out on the field. There are just a lot of running backs in this room, and if he's not playing, there's either a lingering injury that's still holding him back, or there is just not enough touches to go around to where he's going to get the ball. Josh McCray is a guy where we weren't exactly sure what was going to happen with him in terms of the touches. He gets 2, and he was, the 5th or 6th running back out there? Frazier was the first running back. Dwight was the second. Chauncey Bowens was the third. But Walker was the 4th. Josh McCray was running back 5, and if you count Cash Jones, who only had 1 carry and who they use in the receiving game, then he was running back 6. So I just don't know. Those bigger guys are just not up on the depth chart right now. We'll see if that's the case throughout the season. Another week next week where you just get to see Georgia experiment a little bit against an opponent that they should beat pretty soundly. But I think that they did what they wanted to do. It was interesting the way they used Ethan Barbour, true freshman tight end, in the run block game. Right, they had him moving around and in motion out there laying blocks. Saw true freshman Juan Gadsden doing well in run block before he gets injured and exits the game. But I think that Gunner's legs will help open things up for this running offense. Will the passing offense be as efficient, as effective as it needs to be? I think that that's yet to be seen. I think that over one game, I think it's a fair reaction to say this Georgia run offense is probably going to improve, and Gunner Stockton's legs definitely has something to do with that. but I think the backs may just be more reliable. If they stay healthy, they've got talent in that room. Didn't stay healthy last season. That was a problem. Georgia's run game got better. Will this be a theme throughout the season? Don't know if it's an overreaction or not quite yet. Appreciate you watching. Links are below.